Well, those are some epic shots from the party going on here that we call the X Games. It's day 3 of 4. You are looking down on the event deck here at LA Live, and right now we are set to kick off the BMX Park Final. Hello everyone, I'm Jimmy Coleman sitting alongside Dennis McCoy and Kevin Robinson. We have narrowed the field down to 10 riders. We've got last year's defending gold medalist, that man right there, Daniel Dares. He is in the lineup, but our top qualifier coming into this was last year's silver medalist, Dennis Anderson. We have 10 riders. It's 2 heats of 5. We run them in a 15-minute jam session, and we're taking 5 riders out of these top 10 going into our final. And there's a shot of Brett Banasewicz. He is the youngest competitor in the field here today at just 16 years old. Last year was his first X Games. He barely missed the podium. He finished in 4th, and he is going to start us off.
Banasewicz in for his first run. It's so amazing the progression level that has come on with some of the youngest riders.
Yeah, he's certainly pushing the envelope.
Oh, the nice big flare over the tombstone around the pool bowl.
Check out the speed.
Big double whip.
Brett's putting it together here. These guys have had an extra day to get comfortable on this course. A gap in between the prelim and now the final.
A little bit low on that flare.
But I see a big improvement over the prelims already. And catch bar 450 over the hip.
Did he spin those twice?
Yes. Brett definitely looked a lot more comfortable than he did in prelims when he had, was battling some bike issues. Good solid run.
Yeah, the elimination, his chain kept breaking, and he only got 2 runs. The way this works, it's a 15-minute jam session. These guys have to run in order. It's a 40-second max run clock. The best run score you can possibly get is a 50. It's your 2 best scores total together. And remember, out of these 10, we're taking 5 into the final.
And meanwhile, Kyle Baldock is just ripping it up out here. Another guy that, these guys are going to get more and more comfortable on the course as time goes on. Having an extra day of practice in between with less guys to share the course with, it's going to show in the way these guys attack it.
He is our only X Games rookie in the lineup here. He's coming off a big win last weekend in Park at the Dew Tour, and he's looking pretty calm here in the final.
Throwing the front flip.
Right front.
The tough thing about that is he has barely no transition to land on when he lands, but he still pulls it.
Just catching the last little bit of transition right there.
We got us a solid start to this, guys.
This is coming out with a banger, I gotta say. These guys are ready to battle.
Well, another thing to note here is we take the 2 best scores out of each heat, and it's the better 3rd place score between the 2 heats that'll round out our 5-man final.
Nice grind there on the carport. Gary's got just the most unique lines of anybody in the bunch. High-speed manual, dropping it down.
It always impressed me so much, the speed that Gary maintains throughout the course.
After watching at home, you see the 2 clocks in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. The 1 in white, that is the jam session time. The 1 in yellow, that is the actual run time. It's run till you fall or until 40 seconds has elapsed.
And we've got 2 guys tied right now. It'll be interesting to see how this compares to Gary's run. He just attacks this thing, he flows. You can put the most simple course out there, and Gary's going to find a way to get creative on it.
Now, we haven't talked about this yet. I mean, this is not like park courses we've seen many years past with box jumps and quarter pipes and whatnot. You got to have the big tricks, but it's also about style and flow in a course like this.
Yep, and it's interesting to see guys like this, Daniel Dares, who's just a trick machine, adapt his tricks to this course.
With a trick like that, a big double tail out of the tombstone. And a course like this, too, not only do you have to adapt to this style course, but you have to do it all within a 40-second time frame. So to put all that together, that's challenging.
And it's extremely methodical for a lot of these guys. And if you slip up one thing, it's real easy to lose your pace and get lost in this course.
And that hasn't happened to Daniel in this run. I'm impressed. He's flowing this thing.
It hasn't happened to anybody in this opening round of heat number 1.
They are coming out swinging. Down the Park 7.
Wow.
Park 7 over the transfer. That was massive.
Kind of a flat spin rotation in that 720. Remember, the best possible run score you can get is a 50, and everybody's pretty evenly matched at this point. We got 2 33s, a 35, and Daniel in there with a 36. But here comes our top qualifier out of elimination. Last year's silver medalist is Dennis Anderson.
Wow, big whip.
That was definitely an original line. I don't think I've seen that yet with the tail up into the wall.
Well, he finished 5 full points ahead of the rest of the field in qualifier elimination the other day.
Dennis's riding is ridiculous, and I don't use that word lightly. I mean, look at this. He's huge tail whip pocket air.
And he's got a wonderful name too, doesn't he?
Hey, man. I smile when I see Dennis ride because he just kills it on everything. I mean, he won Park and Dirt in Salt Lake at a Dude Tour. He could win here and he could beat Garrett tomorrow. He's that good.
Big tricks like that, a foot jam nose pick to fakie.
A fakie's a universal term. You'll hear it a lot. It means going into a trick backwards or landing it backwards.
Wow. Brett's putting it together here. That's the best line I've seen yet.
He's another one of those guys like Daniel Darris. He is a trick machine, and he definitely has improved his flow from what we saw out of the elimination round the other day.
A nice tuck no-hander. Coming out of the tombstone, building up some speed.
Let's see what he can finish with, because this run is very, very solid.
Oh, the flare whip sliding out.
That'll hurt because he still had time on the clock.
And as a competitor, that's frustrating to just nail a run and then mess up at the end.
And you hear the buzzer go, so that means that constitutes a fall.
Yeah, he kind of corked the front flip out. Kind of got a little sideways barrel rolling style.
Oh, Gary kind of slipping out a little bit there.
I really think Brett's run was maybe going to score the highest of any run yet had he not fallen at the end.
Well, I tell you what, he still got a 30 even with about 9 seconds left on the clock. Remember, it's your two best run scores total together, and that was unfortunate for Kyle Baldock because he's now got a 13. There's still plenty of time left to go through the rotation, though.
But you see Kyle's 13, he fell so early in the run. That's the reason why. It's not that you get penalized so heavily for falls, it's when you fall. That makes a huge difference.
Gary coming up a hair short. You see he kind of hung up there. With that right there, it loses your speed. Now it throws off your plan. You had a game plan coming in of different lines you have. Now you have to quickly adjust, which Gary is showing that he's very capable of doing.
Now we mentioned style and flow. He's one of those guys. He doesn't have some of the big tricks like Brett Matasewicz and Daniel Darris, but he attacks this course at high speed. You will see him whipping through these corners with unique transfer lines and gap jumps.
And plenty of endurance. I think this contest could run 3 times in a row and Gary would be down for it all.
Well, he's been knocking on the door the last 2 years in a row, walking away with a bronze medal, got himself a silver all the way back in 2003.
Oh, Daniel Darris off the ski jump with a 360 tuck no-hander.
Big double whip. Daniel's looking like he's riding pretty clean to me right now. Like, I'm impressed. He's, dropping the front end, proper landings.
Landing smooth, keeping his flow going. Definitely looking a little more comfortable than he did in prelims.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he looks a lot more comfortable right now than we saw out of elimination. And he is your defending gold medalist. Got his 3rd one last year. He took the gold in 07, 08, and last year. And he's looking poised to get into that final here in round 1 of the final.
There it is again with a big cork 720 over the gap. That is very much Daniel's own style.
That might have been a better landing than what he had out of the first run. Now, his first run score was solid at 36, and that gets him a 38, so he's got the highest single run score of the team so far.
Anderson, he's been doing that trick for years. Roll on, 270 in, like alley-oop style. That's a lot crazier than it looks.
Wow. What a massive transfer. Look at the speed that he's maintaining through this course.
The bar-to-bar back in the deep part. I'd like to see some of these guys air big more. It's tricky to get the line to hit that corner with speed. Wow, huge flip.
That was a massive flip. When Dennis says bar-to-bar back, he spins his handlebars one direction, catches it, and then spins it back the other direction.
And what Dennis does, and few of the guys do, he links these big tricks like this flip over the volcano. A volcano's when there's a deck bigger than the spine, and he'll throw in a tech lip trick, and he'll find his way to get speed back. That's what we need to see more of from a lot of these guys.
That should be a big run score for Dennis, and he gets the highest score of the afternoon so far. That's a 40, so that puts him 1 point ahead of Daniel
Did you see that? Front flip tuck, no hand.
You guys, we got to
sandwich. Oh, he gets hung up coming out of that pool bowl.
Let's check out this replay. Look at this. Tucks the bars in his lap, spreads his hands out. Very well executed.
It'll be interesting to see how Kyle responds after falling early in that pass run, because all of these guys have a legit shot of getting into that final round of 5 and getting up on the podium.
Well, now a sense of urgency starts to kick in with about 6.5 left on the clock. He may get 1 more rotation out of this, possibly 2, but Kyle's got to drop that 13.
Look at the speed that
You don't see that every day.
Front flip off the carport, no transition to take off from, just pulling it from a flat surface. That is so impressive.
And you're landing completely to flat on this.
I had the pleasure of riding street in Kansas City, my hometown, with him recently, and he would just casually throw front flips out riding street. Oh, there's a ledge. I'll front flip off of it.
Straight into the flip fakie. I like that I'm starting to see flip fakies again. You know, they got put away for a little while. We're starting to see them come back out again.
They're making a comeback. Retro. This will be a big score here for Kyle Baldock, and he gets a 32, so that's what he needed to do. Get rid of that low score of a 13. Here we go with Gary Young again.
Gary Young with a nice 360 up into the ski jump.
Kyle and Gary are tied right now. Gary would hold the tiebreaker over Kyle, and it's only the best of the third place scores from the two heats that come out. You want to be 1
the
2 in your heat.
downside grind around the corner. That's when the bottom two pegs catch a grind around, and he does it
Over
again.
the bridge.
He's had two big lip tricks going over that doorway gap.
And he's maintaining his speed. That's what is so impressive.
Look at that. Big one-handed flatty. Just transferring from bowl to bowl like he's riding a set of trails. Trust me, it's a lot gnarlier than a set of trails.
So another solid run there for Gary Young. That'll bring up Daniel Des. Remember, we're taking the two best scores out of each heat and the better third place score between the two, so that bumps him up big time. That gives him a 71.
Daniel going, it looked like he's going for the double peg grind. His front peg slipped off, dropped his front wheel. He'll have to call that run, get back up, and get in for another one.
As it stands, Daniel and Darius have a bit of a cushion. They're sitting pretty safe. Yeah, caught up on his peg there. Lucky for him, he didn't fall down with the bike.
Look at that. There's a new line we haven't seen out of Dennis Anderson.
Oh, Dennis with the bar spin to toboggan into the pool bowl.
Bar spin, looked like he was going to do a tuck no-hander out of that, but he's sitting in the lead. I don't think he'll slip past the top two.
See that?
Big
how
talent in the
hard that
pocket.
is to go around the pocket. That is such a challenging thing to do.
There he goes again with that foot jam nose pick coming in backwards.
I'm a huge fan of that trick.
Do you guys get the feeling that Dennis probably hasn't even glanced over to see what his score is yet? I love that about the guy. He's so good, and he's so carefree, and if he keeps the two of those elements, this guy's going to be ripping it up for 20 or 30 years.
Well, he walked out of here last season with back-to-back silver medals in Park and Street. He'd like to trade it in for a shiny gold one.
What?
You can get all your X Games schedule information by downloading the new mobile app, where you can log on to xgames.com/schedule. Stay in tune with your favorite events throughout the entire weekend here at X Games 17.
That was a bizarre front flip flag.
Oh, Kyle Baldock going for the backflip tail whip. This is his first X Games, and he has risen to the occasion.
Yeah, he's holding his own, but unfortunately, I mean, Gary Young, Daniel Dares, and Dennis Henderson have just put it together.
Yeah, it looks like Brent and Kyle may not be advancing out of this. It all depends on whether they can get another run in and just how much they can boost those scores.
Well, at 40 seconds per run with 3 minutes to go, it looks like we may go through the rotation one more time around, but Brent has some definite work to do.
With 33s being their top scores, they've got a lot of work to do to pop up into the top three here. But these top three can still shuffle around.
These riders all have to be tired to pump at that speed, maintain that speed, time after time. The only one I would think would be comfortable with this is Gary Young.
And he's the one that just waved it off, and I think it's because he lost his line. It's not because he was out of breath. As a competitor, you know, if this run can't beat my other one, maybe I'm better off saving it for the next one.
Well, then you start using energy and everything and expending energy that you could use on your next run.
And risk. We're always expending risk. If you figure you do this stuff 10 times, you might fall 1 or 2 of them. Why take that risk if you're trying to make it through to the final round?
Exactly. You don't want to expend everything you've got left before you get into that final.
That was awesome.
Huge alley-oop tail whip transfer out of the pool bowl. Oh, the nice tuck no-handed 360.
No-handed flare. Daniel's just stringing tricks together. He's in a good position right now.
I'm a big fan of that no-handed flare trick.
Speaking from the guy that came up with it first.
So Daniel loops out with about 10 seconds left on the clock, so that's not going to help him out. He's not in a bad spot. I mean, he's in 74. Looks like we're going to go through the rotation one more time around. He looks like he's a pretty safe lock to make it into that final.
And this guy's definitely a lock right now.
Well, he's right on pace from where we left off with him on Thursday.
Yes, bar spin to tuck no-hander over the volcano. And a huge pocket table.
You have to be so on top of your game to ride a course like this, to have the reaction time so instantly. If something goes wrong, you have to be ready to improvise real quick.
Yes.
That's a new one.
For improvising.
Yeah, haven't seen that in a line.
I can't stress enough how impressed I am that he can link these high-speed moves, go giant, and do that.
And do that.
A tech, risky lip trick to fakie. You know, you don't usually just want to end fakie in a run unless you're confident. And he's confident.
Foot jam nose pick to fakie off the bridge.
And it looks like we're going to have another run for all of these guys.
Yeah.
We'll say if there's enough time on the clock for one more run, when the first guy comes around, they all get another shot. And that's perfect for this guy and for Kyle.
Even though that time's going to run out, we're still going to finish out the rotation, and Brett Manasewicz needs to really get it done here.
Brett looks like he lost a little bit of his speed. Comes right back, the flare tail whip. He's flipping upside down, turning 180 degrees, and letting his bike flare out, then straight into something like that. A nice front flip.
Now, it's not going to be enough to get him into that next round, but you know, you also care what place you end up, period. So you might as well throw down.
Exactly. He looked a little lost at the end of that run, but again, this is only his second year competing at the X Games. He just missed the podium by one spot last year. He's only 16 years old. Remember that name, Brett Manasewicz. You'll be hearing it a lot in years to
He's going
come.
to get better and better. He's got his own private skate park now called The Kitchen, which ironically isn't far from the bakery in Chicago. Brian, I think they provide pastries for the bakery.
Yeah, that's
Hold on.
Oh, yes!
That was a massive flip.
He did that at our local park. Big giant flip, 90 over the hip. A lot of draws with Jock.
Let's take another look at this. Look how high he's boosting. Sitting back, a nice slow flip.
A little low. Look at that. Gary just riding like Gary rides.
With a feeble
Fast
grind.
and clean.
Feeble grinds when your back peg is on the coping, your front wheel is up on the surface.
Look at that
High-speed manual.
up on that carport.
Hung up a little bit, but it didn't seem to affect him. He just maintains his speed no matter what.
Him and Dennis, San Diego locals, let's just say that they know how to ride their bikes in San Diego.
Look at that, downside double peg grind up on that plexiglass bridge.
Casual downside grind, way above the cement. He's using that ski jump a little different than everybody else too. A unique line there.
Oh, the 540, spinning around 540 degrees, straight to a turn down.
That's another solid run there for Gary.
Very solid.
I don't think that's going to be enough to overtake Daniel.
Which means he's going to be playing the waiting game
Exactly.
when you're the guy on the bubble.
Well, they got him a full.
Wow, yes.
Wow, I said I didn't think it was going to be enough, and he did. He overtakes Daniel Dares by 2 full points.
The pressure is on.
You know what? And that's well deserved when you're.
Oh,
when you're
Daniel's
looking at
slipping a
just the
pedal. Daniel lost his line.
Well, now this is huge. He's your defending gold medalist, and with him calling it with 28 seconds left on the run clock, that means Daniel Dares is now our bubble guy. Why? We take the top 2 scores out of each heat and the better third place scores. So with that last run for Gary Young, he's now solidified himself a spot in that final. And Daniel is now going to be nervously watching in heat number 2 to see if he gets edged out.
That happened a couple years ago, where Dares was just kind of left speechless. He didn't realize you can't follow these scores that fast when you're up on the deck worrying about your run. Daniel would have been wise to try to bump that score, even to a 75 could make the difference.
Well, I'm going to touch on what you said earlier. I don't know if these guys are really paying too much attention to that leaderboard, but let's take a look at some action from this heat. Last year's gold medalist, Daniel Dares.
Look at this, cork out of 720, his own version, his own style.
Right here, cork 720, totally Daniel style. I love seeing him do that. Out of the pool bowl, the alley-oop double tail whip.
That's very impressive because that lip is steep. And this guy just kills it.
This is one of my favorite tricks. Foot jam nose pick to fakie. Fakie meaning you're coming back and backwards.
And could you do that flip any cleaner? And then, hey, maybe I'll do it up on that bridge while I'm at it.
Yeah.
Dennis Anderson showing people how to be carefree and tear it up at the same time.
Coming in fakie on a big ramp like that, coming backwards with all that speed is so challenging.
Wow, big pocket tail whip.
Well, the big shocker right now is last year's defending gold medalist. He is sitting on the bubble spot. That is heat 1 in the books. Keep in mind, we've still got another heat of 5 riders left to go. Remember, we're taking the top 2 with a better third place score. More BMX Park final when we come back to X Games 17. Welcome everyone to day 3 of 4 here, X Games 17. You're looking at a live aerial shot of downtown Los Angeles and LA Live. We are on what we call the event deck, and we are down to our last jam session here. It is the BMX Park final. We have narrowed the field down to 5 riders out of our 2 heats, and these 5 riders are about to do battle in hopes of walking away with some X Games gold here this afternoon. Hello everyone, I'm Jimmy Coleman, sitting alongside Dennis McCoy and Kevin Robinson. We've got Chris Pastris out there getting some sideline reports for us, and the big story coming into this final, 2 actually. Dennis Anderson was our top qualifier coming out of elimination, and he pretty much picked up where he left off on Thursday. He's the top scorer guy here in the final, and last year's defending gold medalist Daniel Dares, he barely got in. He was our bubble score guy. He'll be joined by Chase Hawk, Gary Young, Scotty Kramer, and of course Dennis Anderson. But how about it with Daniel Dares getting in on that bubble spot? It barely got it done. I mean, it came down, we take the top two scores out of each heat and the better third place score, so he was kind of nervously eyeing that one up in heat 1, but he got in.
It was so impressive how much they came out swinging in the qualifiers. You know, they're showing that you can pull no stops. You're here, you're at the X Games, you better be coming here to win.
Yeah, well, you know what?
It's going to be an interesting final.
All the scores are a moot point at this point. We've cleaned the slate, we re-rack, and we'll do it all over again. It is a 15-minute jam session. These riders will run in order as to how they're seated. So we'll see last year's gold medalist first, then Chase Hawk, Gary Young, Scotty Kramer, and then Dennis Anderson. It's a 40-second max run clock. You run in order, ride to you fall, or until 40 seconds has elapsed. The best possible score you can earn is a 50. It's the 2 best run scores total together that'll hopefully have you on that podium here for X Games 17. And here we go, we are in. Started off with last year's gold medalist. This is Daniel Dares.
Daniel with a big double tail whip, coming out swinging out of the pool bowl.
And big was the key point. He seemed to like hit that with a little more speed and boost it a little higher.
And that'll help you maintain your speed to the rest of your run. Oh, man!
Double tail whip
Straight into the flare.
He wasn't lying. He's saving some for the final. Save some energy, save some of his big tricks.
You know, and you also got to consider the wow factor. You know, you come out, you kind of hold back a little bit, then you come out for your finals run with energy like this. Oh! 7 over the gap.
That's a solid run.
Daniel Dares has made his mark.
Did he take his hands off on that? It looked like he got his hands off.
He is here to compete.
Oh, looked like one of them came off.
And right out there right now, Chase Hawk, he's just going to attack this thing at a high speed.
What a massive line.
Now, we talked about this in the elimination rounds. Some of these guys have a big arsenal of tricks, and then again, a guy like Chase here, he's known for his style and his flow, and that's obviously paying off for him because here he is in the final.
Chuck no-hander up into the ski jump, pumps around the bowl corners to get some more speed.
Now Daniel's posted a 35. That's a solid score, but it's far from the 40 that some of the guys were posting in earlier rounds. So
huge alley-oop. Alley-oop meaning you kind of drift backwards, you kind of travel backwards through the air.
Well, we're about to see another one of these style and flow guys with Gary Young. Watch how fast this guy propels himself through these corners and these pockets.
Nice bar transfer in. That's a cool line.
That is a very cool line. A peg grind right into the transfer off the carport.
Mandel in the same line, coming into a little bit of trouble there.
The alley-oop backs up. The tail whip out of the tombstone. Gary's looking like he's lost a lot of his speed.
Yeah, this isn't his best, but
the downside peg grind. Gary have to call it.
Hey, it's a 4-run format. If you're going to fall, he was falling on a run that wasn't quite up to his standards to begin with, so.
And he still has 3 runs left. He's got time. Gary has the energy to come back out and maintain the same energy level.
Yeah, the key factor is your best 2 runs, and with 12 and a half to go on the clock, plenty of time left. And here you go with Scotty Kramer.
Scotty, the double tail whip transfer up onto the carport.
Wow,
look at
big transfer line.
Look at the speed that he's maintaining.
He's definitely up the ante with his intensity from what we saw out of Heat 1 from him.
And that was a big trick.
Backflip tail whip into the pump up. He landed base basically flat with no transition. And look, he maintains his speed. He goes right back into his run.
The impressive thing to me was what he did before the whip flip. He did a high-speed bar spin, bunny hopping into that bowl. That's fast, and it's a gnarly tight landing. To hit that as clean as he did and go right into this.
Look at that.
That's a big line.
He just slipped the pedals there, but he touched down, so he keeps the run going.
And he got his energy back quick. He got his speed back really quick.
And no fault of his, really. I mean, there's just nothing to land on there.
This is
Bar
Dennis
spin,
Anderson.
manual, tuck no-hander in. Whip down that.
That's the challenge with a course like this. When you can falter a little bit, you can land a little low, and if you can get right back into your line and get your speed going again, that's what it requires for a course like this, and to put together a winning run.
And he's not even halfway through the run yet, but I feel like we're going to be seeing the leader.
Oh, the tail around the pocket.
Yeah. He's just,
there it is.
Looks like he's
Jim
thoroughly enjoyed himself.
Those are perfect. He's made every single one.
Well, right into a tail whip.
Looks like
full pole, uses all his time right to the buzzer.
He's going to be the leader there, and he's led from
Gary Young
start to
showing the
finish.
appreciation of a good run from Dennis.
Well, the best possible run score you can get is a 50. He gets a 40, so he's picking up right where he left off from round one.
I want to know how everybody thinks about this contest. Tweet us at X Games or tweet me at KRob BMX.
No-handed 3 down the ski jump. No foot can to late whip. Wow! That's one of the bigger tricks.
Out of the pool bowl, a steep transition.
Man, and a huge 720. He's halfway through. He's got to maintain.
Daniel, so far, his theory is working.
Well, he had a little bit of a scare being on the bubble going into this, and he says, you know what, I'm not wasting any time this time around. He wants another gold medal.
Look, out of the pool bowl, the big alley-oop, double tail whip, out of that steep transition. That is such a challenge.
That's going to be a big score.
He's got a first run score of a 35, and he gets a 40. So that's a big run there for Daniel Dares as we bring back in Chase Hawk.
Daniel Dares is back.
Well, if this keeps up, there's going to be an all-out battle between him and Dennis Anderson.
Chase nailing that manual line, high speed. See if he pulls it right into the high-speed
ice pick grind. When just your back peg is on the coping.
He's shown a lot of control. Those are considered like flow-type moves. And you do it and go into something that big, this is what people like to see. But he did quit really early and didn't have enough tricks, so.
You know, the speed they have to maintain, the energy level they have to have, all while doing these tricks. You know, it's like running a 100-yard dash through an obstacle course.
Yeah! That's a shame. That's a shame for him to mess it up. A feeble to 270.
Feeble to 270.
He's going up sub-box style. That's a 4-foot tall carport, and he's going up like a sub-box, feeble grinding, and then 270 out, but he has to get over the end of it. He's not coming back into where he took off. He's going into something straight.
Well, the pressure's kind of on for Gary now because he's got to get 2 solid run scores with 8:44 left in the jam.
Up on the manual pad.
Watch this. Bar spin in.
That's
very impressive. Right into it.
Backflip, tail whip landing smooth.
Maintain his speed that time. That landing is tiny.
Landing smooth on a wooden, like about a 2-foot transition.
12 seconds to go. Again, I hate to keep saying if he can maintain, but we're seeing a lot of guys just run out of energy, run out of lines.
Yeah, guys are getting out with about 8, 9, 10 seconds left. Big front flip.
Big front flip, holding on. Right on the buzzer. Used all his time. Coming out with a banger right on the end. I always think that's super important.
Yeah, that was a big run right into a big score. Guarantee.
This run's going to be big for Dennis Anderson. He's got a first run score of a 40. Remember, it's your 2 best run scores total together. So what does Dennis have for round 2?
More of the same. High speed, flowing, big tricks, and not afraid to work in a little of everything. Big bar spin to X up. You don't see people going that high.
Not going, and that's what I love seeing that. I love seeing people utilize the big ramps.
Flip whip, that's ridiculous.
Over that chunk, that is amazing.
That's ridiculous. And look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Tech lip tricks in the run, still finds a way to keep the speed and get going again. This is what BMX is about. Dennis Anderson right now is
and he did that out of a flip whip. Out of a flip whip.
If you're watching at home, the 2 clocks in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. The one in white, that's how much time we have left in the jam session. The one in yellow, that is the run clock. And there you go, 41.
41, and Dares is going to pass on his run. Does he have a mechanical difficulty? Is he winded? I have no idea.
This is not the time to be passing on your run.
If there's nothing wrong with his bike, this is where it gets weird, because now Chase is going earlier than he would have gone. The next guy's going earlier than where. Somebody else might decide they want to pass. In a jam format like this, when somebody gets pulled out of the mix, less time for everybody to rest, think, fix their bike, whatever they might want to do.
We saw that last night in BMX Vert. We had 2 guys go out. We were down to a 3-man rotation in the finals, and the 3 guys left. They just called it with a couple minutes left. They were wiped out.
Yeah, and when you factor in injuries, if a couple people go down, like what happened last night in Vert.
That's a perfect example. You know, Chase could have dropped in a little tired, wasn't expecting to go in that early.
Well, this now this plays to the advantage of Gary Young, because Gary has got the stamina. Gary can ride all day long.
But if he's thinking about his lines, if he doesn't have it all figured out and he's trying to think it through, and you get rough,
the nice toothpick ride over the doorway. That's when just your front peg is on the coping.
This run is
downside peg ride around the bowl corner.
This run is exceptional. If Gary keeps this going, he's going to place his highest score of the day for sure.
Well, he needs to drop that.
Man, that would have been insane.
Tombstone transfer, downside peg ride around the bowl corner. That would have been a great line.
It's a shame to see such a good run go to waste there, but you got to give respect to Gary Young for just trying. He wasn't slowing down.
That's the thing. It gets to the point. If you come out here to win, you got to be willing to throw down. You got to take some chances.
Scotty Kramer starts it off with a tail whip gap transfer.
Anderson's lead is huge right now. We all know how quickly that can change, but...
Well, the question is Daniel going to come back? We don't know why he passed on his run yet. We don't know if it's a mechanical issue with
the Superman seat grab. Both legs off the back of the bike, both hands grabbing the seat.
I can't stress enough, though, it definitely changes it for everybody when somebody passes. There's probably some guys out there going, I wish there were 6 of us right now, because you're trying to think ahead, you're trying to look at scores, you're trying to average things. Unless you're Dennis Anderson, you're just trying to have fun and ride your bike. When they tell you it's your turn to go, you go. And you put together runs like this.
I have to correct myself, called it a Superman seat grab. It's actually called a cannonball.
Look how fast he pumps out of that pool ball.
Oh, the bar spin's a tuck no-hander.
We call that element the pool ball because it's got pool.
Double tail around the pocket corner.
That's his first mistake of the day, practically, but on a huge...
You know what? But with the scores he has, he can start taking some chances and playing around a little bit.
Yeah, Daniel is back. That was very interesting that Daniel passed.
He's got a 6-point lead.
With a 720 transfer in out of the ski jump. Double tail whip.
Well, right now let's check in with Chris Pastors, who's got some insight as to why Daniel passed on that last run.
Hey guys, I spoke with Daniel, and he said it was heat for one, and then he wanted to conserve energy for his last run or two. So hopefully he'll pull it together for another run.
But by doing that now, he just fell in that last run. It all comes down to his last run. He has to put it down.
The way that run started, he was firing it out. You know, I was thinking maybe we shouldn't question his strategy here. But then when he did fall, there's reason to question it. These guys are all on top of their game. You just can't give somebody else that edge.
Well, with just under 3.5 left to go in the jam session, it looks like we'll get through this rotation and definitely get one more run for these guys. Possibly 2 if we keep having these short runs.
Now, we all know what Gary Young's capable of. He's sitting on 2 low scores. He's got at least 2 runs left, I would guess. So,
the nice double peg grind transfer out of the carport.
Don't count Gary Young out of the medals, and don't even count him out of the gold. These guys from San Diego, they know how to ride their bikes.
Well, this one is key right here. He has to get down a full run with just under 3 minutes left to go. He'll definitely get another one, but this one has got to be big.
And I was about to say, it looks like it is, but hey, it's still 15 seconds left. There's time. Yeah.
Oh, and he pulls the downside around the bridge.
Gary's not running a gyro, it appears. His cable...
With 5 seconds left to go.
That's a trick he's got on lockdown, too. A turn down 270 off of that hip there. But I noticed his cable's tangled around from...
They're out riding at this level. They're in the heat. They got the sun beating down on them. It looks like some of the guys are just starting to get tired.
Well, this will be interesting. We really need to see Scotty pull something together, something big, if anybody's going to threaten Dennis.
Up in the carport, jumping in with the bar spin. Looks like he lost his line.
Yeah, and he's sitting in that bronze medal position right now with a 72. And that'll bring up your current leader right now, Dennis Anderson, with just under 2 minutes left to go here in this final jam session.
I wonder if Dennis even knows he's in the lead.
Even with this, what we call a kind of a flawed strategy, Daniel's sitting in second place. And he has a score of 40. A score of 42 would put Daniel in the lead.
Yeah.
What? There it was.
There it was.
Double whip in the pocket.
Double whip around the pocket. Such an intricate trick to do.
Yes!
What?
I think I stand corrected again.
Back the tailwind straight to the foot jam nose, but that's the first one we've seen him touch on.
I don't know how much that dab's going to hurt him. I said a score of a 42 would put Daniel in the lead, but not if Dennis Anderson bests his own score here.
I'm really interested to see what score comes up for Anderson for that. Because he did stop a little early.
31, so that dab did hurt him.
Wow, that's pretty harsh.
Plus he had about 6 to 7 seconds left on the clock, which you can still get, a couple walls in.
True. Good point.
This is key right here with under a minute left on the clock.
Daniel with a 7:20 in. The pressure is on Daniel Dares right now.
He has to do it right now, even in time.
Indian kick, tail whip, alley-oop, double whip.
Daniel might stay
He's got to maintain this run. He's got to maintain this level.
Even though time's going to run out, we're going to finish out the order.
360 tuck, no hander.
Oh my God.
To the flare, tail whip.
A 42 is going to give him a gold medal, and this is certainly something that would appear to be along those lines. It's going to be close.
Well, it won't guarantee it because Dennis Anderson will get one more run. We're going to run the order so everybody gets the same amount of runs, but Daniel is putting it down.
7. Hang on, Daniel. Bar spin. That is a pole.
Yes.
I want to see what score comes up for that run. Amazing. His strategy just might pay off. It might work.
You can put him into gold, and it'll be interesting to see if Anderson can counter with something even bigger.
And he gets a 41 and that ties him.
And guess what, guys? That's going to kill him on any tiebreakers. He passed on a run. If his third run isn't better, we'd have to see what his third throw-out run was. But his fourth throw-out run didn't exist.
Yeah, the first tiebreaker is the highest run score. They're both tied. They're 40 to 41. So then they compare each third highest run score after that.
And that's going to be key.
They continue to compare run scores until the tie is broken, and that strategy might cost them a gold medal here today.
If Anderson is aware of that and he goes into the last run tied, he could simply do a run that beats Daniel's third best run, and he's the gold medalist. But again, it's Dennis Anderson. He's just going to go out and ride and smile and have a blast, and whatever happens, happens.
Wow. Getting back in there.
What a
pressure
cooker situation for Daniel Dares, but he rose to the occasion.
Going for that outside. Gary just looks tired.
Looks like Gary's not going to make the podium. He's made it years in a row now. He's been the bronze medalist, repeating that, it seems like year after year.
There's Dennis Anderson. Wonder what's going through his head. If he comes in, like you had said, if he can come in this last run and throw down and beat Daniel's best score.
That'd do it for Gary Young here.
Everyone still does get another run. And now as people start to wind down, you might see it come to an advantage of some of these guys at the end. They're going to get a little rest before they drop in.
I'm really interested to see how
more clock involved.
To see how it plays out for Daniel by taking that run off and giving himself some rest.
All right, Scotty Kramer sitting in a bronze medal position at this point.
Scotty showing you the technical aspect. Anderson will need a 35 in his last run to give him the tiebreaker.
And I don't think he's aware of that. And again, of all people, he would probably care the least. But if he did get that memo, he'd be smart to do a run here. He doesn't have to throw down completely. I'd love to see him throw down the best run of the day.
Well, here we go. It all comes down to this last run. He needs a 35 or better to get the tiebreaker to earn himself the gold medal.
Oh, the bar spin is toboggan.
He's pulling some good stuff. He kind of has a look like he's doing like a victory lap or just having some fun out there. So
he's not pumping around with the energy level that he has in the previous run.
No!
Dennis!
Went for the big move. Wow.
You were knocking on the door. He needed a 35.
And it looks like
Daniel's aware of what's going on right now.
Daniel even knows what's going on.
But it looks like Daniel's smarter than all of us today.
Daniel's strategy paid off. He took the rest, he built up some energy, conserved, and it paid off. That is showing you some smart choices by an athlete.
And how about the fact that he was our bubble guy? Remember, he was the third best scorer coming out of heat number 1. He was watching things unfold in heat number 2, and he ended up getting in. And then on his last run, he gets it done.
Wow, Dennis Anderson, though, no shame here. This guy
Bar
just
spin
killed
to
it.
X up. Bar spin a tough no-hander. Right here, this is what hurt him. The double tail, we're on the pocket.
Wow. When he crashed that in a later run, yes, it hurt his score. This run, he was on. It's so close, these guys tie, and it comes down to a tiebreaker.
Out of the pool bowl, the alley-oop double tail whip. Cork 720, total Daniel Dares style.
And a flare whip, throwing it in. I mean, Daniel packed it with, he packed his run full of tricks, and he got just enough. That must be a great feeling, just enough to win.
Daniel Dares, our X Games 17 BMX Park gold medalist.
Well, he just added his 4th gold medal in Park. Backs up 2 years in a row. Congratulations there to Daniel Dares getting it done in his last run. And again, I got to bring this up. He was our bubble guy coming out of that first heat. And right now, let's throw it down to Chris Pastris with an interview with our winner.
Daniel, explain the strategy you had going into that final.
Man, it's just since I got here, I knew that heat was gonna play a big factor. So I was like, dude, I can go 4 runs. 2 of them is gonna be half because I gotta be exhausted, or do 2, take a breath, and then just do a last one hard with like. It's gotta go either way. These guys are so amazing. It's like they can definitely win. So I was like, I'm gonna gamble. I did the old Ryan Nyquist way where he like just throws the dice and hopes the best. And today I'm happy it worked.
Well, it worked for sure. Congratulations. Back to you guys up top.
Well, we were thinking there for a while we were going to have a new name to add to the list of BMX Park gold medalists, but in the end, Daniel Dares gets it done in his last run to walk away with a gold. Dennis Anderson takes a silver 2 years in a row. Scotty Kramer taking the bronze. That wraps us up for us here at the BMX Park Final.